Tide Talk with Webb is back. We're here with Caleb. Yee! What's going on, man?
Roll Tide, man. Roll Tide.
Whew, man, this season's been tough. Now, we need to start it out and say the Terminator is gone. The age of soft-ass coaching and being your friend is here. And it's showing across the whole country because, like you seen, there's nobody looks dominant, not even Texas.
100%.
I saw something really crazy. I was going to bring up some stats. Check out these stats. We're giving up, Alabama right now, and we've not played the greatest of the greatest. We're giving up 342 yards per game. That's 55 in the FBS. I'll be honest, out of 10 out of 5, 10 out of 10, or 1 out of 10, my confidence level in us is about a 4. Like,
100%. 100%.
now, what do you think? Some of the, so we're giving up a lot of runs. Vandy, I don't give a shit about Potvia. I don't care about the guys they've got. We should have run through them like shit through a goose. And it was just like third down, third and long, they're going to get it. Third and short, they're going to get it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like this group of guys is as talented as any group we've ever had because you can see they're getting to the ball, but there's no fucking discipline. It's just like, well, the eye fakes are getting them. You got 3 guys hitting the quarterback and the running backs released for a pitch. And you're like,
Yeah. We're used to a disciplined coach, and Kalen DeBoer is more of a friendly coach, it seems. There's no discipline on the offensive or the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, on the defensive side of the ball. Time of possession is killing Alabama this season. I've seen the last 2 weeks, Vanderbilt had what was it, 40? What was it? Sorry. Um, Time of
first
possession
half
and
we had 9 minutes of possession. They had 22.
yeah, exactly. And South Carolina also had more time possession last week. That 30 minutes of time possession last week, Alabama only had 28. So I think
Well,
that's the thing is they're keeping Alabama's offense off the field, and it's very successful.
now, do you feel like in the years past, we've always been very balanced, very 50-50, right? We're able to run the ball, push the line a little bit. Do you feel like, we mentioned this earlier, we were talking that Bama's top running back, I think it's Jam Miller, only has 320 yards for the season. And I feel like whether we're winning, losing, big, low, whatever, trying to come back, it's like Nick Sheridan refuses to commit to the run. He's like, nah, once every 5 plays, we'll try to run.
Yes, 100%. Jam Miller's at 51 carries this year for 360 yards, 5 touchdowns. Um, and when it is a pass play, Milroe's running the ball for the most part. So I think we need to focus more on the run.
And do you feel like, too, in some of the defensive situations we have, I feel like they're bringing the linebackers back too much in coverage, and the linebackers, in all fairness, are getting kind of burnt, especially the intermediate stuff, 10 to 15. And I'm sorry, I just don't know if we're a 4-2-5 defense, bro.
Yeah, it's not. I don't believe in the 4-2-5 myself, and we kind of seen that in the second half of the Georgia game. Whenever they made that comeback there, it was. I mean, it's hurting us. It obviously worked, in the first half, but they caught along to it, and they caught up with Milroe's run in the first half, and um, Bama couldn't do nothing enough in the second half against Georgia at that most.
And we got to look at, we need to look on the bright side too, because there's a lot of teams like Ole Miss that would love to be 5-1. Now we know we're going into the 30th Saturday in October. We know Tennessee's no joke. They're coming off a loss. We're their biggest rival. We can't play sloppy ass. I'm sorry. You got to play disciplined. We're going to be in Knoxville. My meter, of 1 to 100, wherever they're going to win the game, is maybe about a 35. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Even if it comes down to third and longs, we're so bad. Our opponents are over almost at a 70% rate of making third downs. You can't win ball like that. You can't
Yeah.
win games.
Yeah. Defense has to show up this game, or it's not going to be very good. Defense needs to get the third down stops. It's been the problem this year, and they need to figure out how to stop Nico Iamaleava too. He
Yeah,
has
he's
the
not a
arm on
great
him.
runner, but just passing his arm, his
He has a
scrambling
great
ability.
arm, great arm, great arm.
And honestly, the only quarterback we played that we had a really good arm was Georgia.
Yes,
And Beck.
Carson Beck. Yep, 100%.
But
And
Olivier can run a little bit. Beck is a statue.
100. Yep, he's a statue in the pocket. And this isn't just a big game for Alabama either. Tennessee has to show up this game too. They just went into overtime last week against a Florida team that we don't really know. We don't really know how Florida is this year yet. Especially with that tough schedule they had. They went to overtime, and then a week before that they lost to Arkansas. So we still don't know who this Tennessee team is yet.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of teams. The only team that looks confident in what they're doing and their game plan is right now is Texas to me. Everybody
Yep.
else, I swear, even Georgia to a certain degree, and us, we're still to blame. It looks like we haven't figured out an identity. Are we 50-50 run and pass? Or we haven't figured it out. And at this point, it's like we're gonna have to figure it out. And like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button. Let's be honest. Let's roll back. Remember, Kirby Smart was 7-6 in his first year, and I think he was only like 8-4, maybe 9-4 at max his second
Yep.
year.
Yep.
And he had better talent than Bama at that time, and that's a fact.
Yep.
So we know we have the right coach. Do we have the right position coaches? That remains to be unseen. We don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know. There after the Wisconsin game, I was like, Kane Womack is the guy. But we seen Bama's defense, against Georgia in that second half, and we don't know about Kane Womack now. Kane Womack ever since the second half of the Georgia game, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have been terrible. Um,
No, they really have. And I think the thing that bothers me more about Kane Womack is not his scheme. It's the fact that it feels like he comes out of the locker room and there's been no adjustments to coaching.
yeah, yeah. And
And
you can also tell that this team is not disciplined at all. A Nick Saban team isn't celebrating after every play. This team's celebrating after every play. Um, we score a touchdown against Vanderbilt. We're down by 10 points and we're dancing in the end zone. I mean, it's that kind of stuff that needs to be fixed.
no, I agree. I watched some film last night. A random clip popped up at work when I was eating real quick, and it was Alabama or Nick Saban's top 100 players of all time. And I was watching some of these plays, and it would show up the clips. And there was one play that I think they had audibled it. Najee Harris grabbed it, made an incredible run, ran for like 60 yards, got a touchdown, and it wasn't what Nick Saban called, and he lost his shit. And there was another play where they called the wrong defensive play. We're up by 40 in this game. Keep in mind, we're up by 40 on like Mississippi State or wherever. The quarterback takes off running, gets a touchdown, and Nick Saban blows his shit and eats everybody's ass. And I feel like, and it's not just Bama, it's every team now is like this, and because of money and the NIL, and I get it, NIL has spread talent out, so it's not like it was where it was Georgia, Bama, Clemson, and a fourth player, whoever that may be. I feel like it's there's none of that discipline. You don't see coaches ripping people's ass anymore. It's like, you know, the way I grew up, was your coach came off the porch and fought your ass. Like you got kicked in the ass, like Nick Saban said, and this is true, not to go back to the beat a dead horse, but he said you can always be an asshole and lighten up, but you can't be a nice guy and then try to toughen up.
Right, 100%. Um, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
And
think I think I
I
think that's
feel
a
like,
big
man,
thing. Though is
oh, sorry.
discipline. I think that's a big thing. It's the discipline, 100%.
Well, you can see it when you go back and watch the South Carolina game, when you go back and watch the Georgia second half of the game, when you go back and watch absolutely Vanderbilt, and I'm sorry, that game burns my asshole alive. We were faster, we were better, but damn it, we had no discipline. There was no damn discipline, and that was it. It wasn't that we were out of position. Well, we were, but it was only because, and it wasn't because of speed, it wasn't because of coaching or even the play calls. It's like, damn it, all three of y'all have a different man to cover, and none of y'all did it no, the whole game. And it's like, now, that weird pass that Pavia threw off his back foot and whatever, okay, we'll give you that. But everything else, man, all those third downs, damn it, you're way out of position. And they kept coming right down the middle, pulling the linebackers back, and easy, 10 to 15, easy, 10 to 15. And if we can get that fixed and we can get discipline, we legitimately can run the table because we're not having to play the harder teams this year with schedule.
Right, right, right. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is the discipline. And then if you look at time of possession, I think that's a huge thing. If you look at the first four games of the year, you have West Kentucky, South Florida. Wisconsin and Georgia, we had really good time of possession over our opponents. And then the last 2 weeks, we've gotten beaten down on time of possession, and I mean that's very important. It's all about that offense. Staying on the field. If you can't get the offense off the field, you can't score points. Should have never gave up 40 points to Vanderbilt, and we shouldn't have gave up 20 plus points to South Carolina at that.
No, and I agree because the talent difference is just night and day. One, but like you said, that especially, and I know that Vanderbilt got a ton of different talent, got a better quarterback, but that poor guy couldn't throw over 15 yards. He couldn't. I mean, and they were just doing gimmick shit. And I get that some guys go their whole career and never see a triple option, but if you play discipline with our speed and our talent, they shouldn't even score 15. Like, period.
Yeah, I mean, yes, if you look at it, Saban never struggled at Vanderbilt. Credit Kirby Smart lost to Vanderbilt his first season. Um, but I mean, yeah, it's just the little things, in college football and the discipline thing. I don't. We have NIL now, so I don't know if we're going to see a big thing in discipline. I don't know if we're going to see it as much anymore because, if a kid if he gets chewed out, all he's going to do is transfer the next year. So. I mean, it's definitely something to look at.
No, it is definitely something to think. You brought up a good point because, like I said, a kid gets angry and is like, "Well, screw this. I'll just go to XYZ, or I'll go somewhere that gives me a Lamborghini, or I can play and I have to take your ass chewing." And like I said, and it's all across the campus. Like I said, Nick Saban was one of the last holdouts of old school coaches, and after him, they kind of died. I mean, you look at everybody, but probably like service academies, they don't chew your ass out. I mean, that's bottom line. They don't. I guarantee you could go to Texas, you could go to Georgia, Michigan, whoever the top 10 are in the country, Penn State, it doesn't matter. I think Ohio State's the same way. They're no different, and
Yeah. I think as of the coaching staffs right now, the only two coaches that are going to come even close to it are Steve Sarkisian and Kirby Smart. Other than that, I mean, you're probably not going to see much of a coach chewing a player out. Because a player might have the mindset of I just got chewed out by my coach. I'm going to transfer to this school next year. They're going to pay me money and they're going to give me a brand new car. So. Um, but yeah, it's like we was talking about. It's the little things. I mean, it's the little things you got to look for.
no, you're right. It's across the, but it's not just in football. It's parents these days. I see parents these days saying, "I'm gonna be friends with my kid." Fuck that. I'm not your friend. I pay the bills. I'm here to raise you. I'm not here to be your friend. And that's a difference in shift and culture, which is fine, I guess. But there needs to be a standard, and with that standard evaporating, and with the money coming in, this may be the new normal. I mean, 2 game losses or 3 game losses of a big team going into the playoffs, 12-team playoff, it may be a normal thing. So and I will say this though, that other things that you can correct when you talk about game playing and you talk about coming into, like, let's say, go back to Vanderbilt, maybe they should have been running a 5-2 defense coming out of the tunnel, thinking, okay, they're running most of the time on us. They're running. Let's change it up. And then I never saw that. And I know a lot of people were complaining, and I think that the Womack was right. You don't want to go 8-man fronts because you did it against Georgia because he's a statue. You didn't do it against Pafia because he can run. But if you're not going to go to 8-man fronts and confuse him, you got to play discipline, and that's where it comes back to us as a team and what we got to figure out. Now, I do want to see going forward in this game, even if it's close, if they're getting us somewhere, we're going to have to change up stuff at halftime, one way or the other. And one thing I think that is an emphasis tomorrow is, Milroe he has to play perfect. Like and one of the biggest things on defense tomorrow is, can we stop the running back Sampson? The guy
Yeah,
to
I
me
was, I was, I was just about to get to that. So Dylan Sampson, he's having a great year. He's one of the best running backs in the country. So his last 5 games, he's had 100 plus rushing yards. He's ran the ball in 4 of his last 5 games. He's ran the ball 20 or more times. Um,
mm,
and I mean, it's all about stopping that run. 11, he has 11 touchdowns in the last 5 games. So
mm,
I mean, that's going to be the key tomorrow is stopping the run. And also Nico Iamaleava, he's had 150 plus passing yards in the last 5 games.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, four passing touchdowns in the last 5 games. So I think the key tomorrow is really stopping the run. I mean, Dylan Sampson, he's an athlete, so um,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that that's the key for us stopping the run. But the other key is if we stop the run, we got to be able to stop a few third and longs because we'll have them on a few third and longs. I feel like, but that's where our bread and butter will get made tomorrow. Is can we stop on those third and longs? Can we play discipline enough to get them off the field? Because if not, it's going to be a long day. And I would say Tennessee is probably the second best team we played. Now I will say this though: if we can stop ETN, which I think ETN is top two backs in the country, if we can stop him, we definitely can stop Tennessee. But like I said, Iliava can run too. He's not a statue, so it's going to be quite a challenge for our defensive staff to figure out that, and then to play discipline all 4 quarters because we can't play like a sack of ass 1 or 2 quarters and then come back against Tennessee. It's just not going to work like that.
100%. And stopping another key factor in this game is stopping the two wide receivers, Dante Thornton, the transfer from Oregon, and Squirrel White. Two, I mean, great wide receivers. The cornerbacks are going to have them on lock. Nico loves to throw the deep pass, so I mean that's another. I mean, the key tomorrow is this defense, and the defense has to show up, or it's going to be a long day for Alabama.
And I think we can definitely score in Tennessee. I'm not worried about really scoring as long as Jalen Milrow gets a little bit in a rhythm. The thing for us, we got to be able to run a little bit, and then if Milrow's in a rhythm, we'll score. But I think you're right. The whole key to this darn game is our defense. And that's absolutely the whole key to win or loss for us.
Yes, 100%. Something else that I have right here is the injury report. I seen Keon Sabb was listed as questionable, which is going to be huge. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so far what we have is for Tennessee, we have Cameron Seldon, the running back, offensive lineman, Lance Hurd, Keenan Pilley, the linebacker, Jordan Thomas, the DB, and then Edwin Spillman, the linebacker. Bama, Caden Jones, the linebacker, is going to be out. Daniel Hill's going to be out, which is the running
Hmm.
back. Um, Damani Jackson and Keon Sabb are both listed as questionable, and
Oh,
that's gonna be huge because Keon Sabb and Damani Jackson had the great game stealing interception last week against South Carolina. So
he did
we
against
need
Georgia too.
yes, if we if we don't have Keon Sabb or Damani Jackson tomorrow, it's gonna play a huge factor in this game.
Yeah, if those young guys, if they're struggling and they pick on those young guys, over the top, it can be a long day, especially if we're not getting in that backfield. And in our pass rush last week and the week before really wasn't super good. So yeah, it's I honestly I'm about 40% we can win the game, and I hate to say that. I'm just trying to be honest, from what I've seen.
Hundred
But
percent.
you're right. It's all gonna fall in that defense, especially that backfield. What we can do and what we're able to do, and hopefully we can contain and honestly something would be huge if we can get 2 picks somewhere in the game, somewhere.
Yes, 100%. And not only is this game huge because it's Tennessee and we came off a loss 2 weeks ago, the 2 games after this aren't going to be they're not going to be easy. We got to play Missouri and we got to play LSU and Baton Rouge. So
And they're
it's going to be
mm,
a rough 3 week stretch for Alabama.
yeah, it's definitely not going to be a cakewalk at all. And it was just scary because, like I said, I think we could potentially get in the playoffs with a second loss, but a third is not happening, and that was so heartbreaking against Vanderbilt because you're like, I'd rather take a loss a little bit later, and that's where it's kind of like, ooh. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's another reason this game is so important because we don't know about the LSU game. LSU plays Bama close just about every year, so especially being
regardless
in
of
Baton.
records,
Exactly, especially being in Baton Rouge and the Iron Bowl could play a factor. We had a way better team than Auburn last year, and we won off
in
a Hail Mary. So
the last few
uh,
seconds.
so I mean, realistically, we got a rough 4 games ahead of us.
100%. Hold up. What's up, buddy? Yep, I'll make it to you in a minute. Thank you, buddy. But yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, man. And like I said, it's gonna be a test of our mental toughness and resiliency these next few weeks. And I think it starts all tomorrow. And the thing is that tomorrow I may be more nervous to play them in Georgia because their quarterback is a little bit more mobile. And like I said, right now they're minus Arkansas. Now I think we may mirror some of the game plan that Arkansas did because they won. Um, but it's definitely going to be one hell of a test, and we're at Knoxville. I don't have a lot of confidence. I'll always watch the game. I always believe in Bama, but it's definitely going to be a slugfest, and especially since Tennessee come off an embarrassing loss like that. We got to get our lunch pail and two chin straps because it's going to be tough. But
Yes,
yeah,
and
man.
something else to look at in that Arkansas game as well is time of possession. Arkansas had the ball for 35 minutes and 29 seconds. Tennessee only had the ball for 24 minutes and 31 seconds. So
Mm,
Arkansas, they had the ball for 11 more minutes. That's almost an entire quarter. So
that's huge.
um, time of possession is something that people don't look at that is very important.
No, you're right, and it wears that other side down, keep them on the field, regardless. And that's the where, like you said, that's very, very, very crucial. And it could play a massive factor in tomorrow's game. That's why I think the run for us, we got to be able to run a little bit. We can't just like, oh, let's just throw the ball and be off the field in 3 minutes. Like we got to be able to sustain some damn drives, eat some clock. And so, but yeah, I think that's definitely the keys to the game, man. But that's about it, brother. Well, I appreciate you joining me. And Talke Webb is out.